These can be- Oh, hello there. I'm going for a trend. I think it's 3 days in a row. I'm not sure. That type of stuff doesn't always stay on my radar. But I am here and I am enjoy that I am here. And I really wish to be a help, a servant, and maybe inspire just a bit. But I'm also just wonderfully, amazingly a storyteller. This is who I am. This story that I'm going to tell about a Transformation Tuesday story, I guess, so it's transformational, is a powerful story. It's not mine. It's something I've observed, and it interconnects with a lot of the stuff that is me. But anyway, we're going to have that story, and we're going to see what that does for people. So, moving on to those wonderful meditations, well, let's invite Jesus into the kitchen. Isn't that a beautiful place? That's where we eat food, gather around the table sometimes. Sometimes we have a formal dining room. We'll get him there if that's the case. But maybe there's a table. Maybe you gather. But maybe you require just one more seat. So you can put Jesus there. Maybe the conversations will change. Maybe things will be sorted out. Maybe things can become joyful and great again. Maybe they already are. Maybe they can become even more so. Maybe there's some issues in around the kitchen that you feel kitchens have never been a nice place for you. Maybe things happen to you in kitchens. You never know. Like putting Jesus there, it's going to change it out, man. It's going to really change it out. I did use man. Yeah, I did. Born in 1965, 60 years on these threads right now, heading for 61. I plan to be here for a long time, so I also plan to have somebody sitting beside me that may even co-video with me. That'd be cool. I never know, but it's coming and it feels closer all the time. Every time I do something, every time I work through something. Same with you. So let's put Jesus in the kitchen. Let's leave it there. Uh, well, it is time to see how to connect to me if you really wish to, and that you may do very simply and without charge. Apparently, I'm going to get, yep, a thumbs up. There it is. Hands are here. I just, that's God. I don't know anywhere else to put it, but that's God. So, but if you do, and you require that, then you just reach out to Eric at starthealing.me. I'll send you a link. You book in that. You click that link, book the session, and show up. We'll talk. It says about a half an hour. I could be a little lengthy, but hopefully not more than 40, 45 minutes, maybe. Anyway, I will be here. And again, since it's January, remember that New Year's Legacy is available for just your request. So when you're sending that thing to say, hey, I want to have an appointment with you, you can also say, hey, I'd like to get my copy of New Year's Legacy. And it'll come out to you pretty quick. It'll come out in that email when I send the email for you to book in. So, I have to say those wonderful things that every YouTuber does, like and share this, and of course, subscribe. If it's meant something to you, maybe it means to someone else as well. Well, we have arrived at the story time. That's my joy, my center, my being, my everything. I don't always communicate perfectly. Interesting. I don't write well. Physical writing? Nah, it doesn't go all that well with me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But a story? Oh, I'm a storyteller. That's my matrix and my method. My ministry that God gave me started with stories with me. Now I use stories. But this story is, of course, shaped and confirmed by God. This one is real. I know a couple of the ones I've told and you gone real. Well, that's up to you, really. But yes, this one is real. And it is transformational. There was a woman that had an amazingly kind heart. Won't give her a name, doesn't need it. She lived for a while and she found a man that she thought loved him, and that's better language than I've ever put it into. But anyway, thought that she was loved by him. That's what I was going to say. We got there. And she believed that he would never ever hurt her. And she got to see that he would. But the transformational part that happened is the afterwards. She is working as a model. She was a beautiful lady, had an amazing heart, just an amazing gift from God. And she believed in God as well. And then one night, this man, in his jealous rage, had, and who knows how or why or what, or where he had got a hold of it, but he got a hold of battery acid and he filled the pool with it and he threw her in, saying, "If I can't have you, no one will." She had never said that she was leaving. She just couldn't put up with his jealousy and being angry with all the time. She wanted the loving man that she had fell in love with, but he wasn't around anymore. The reason he did this, who knows, because eventually, of course, doing something horrendous like that gets the cops involved. He ended up in a shootout and was killed. So nobody knew. And so somehow, miraculously, some people would say, I don't know if that's too much of a miracle. She survived. She was scarred severely. She hid herself in big old baggy clothes and walked around. Now, I said it's her story, and it is. I have a part in it. Sometimes I do. I have my own scars and my own brokenness and my own smashed pieces that I'm still figuring out. Also, figuring out that I'm probably in better condition than I think I am. Learning to just flow with the reality in front of me and loving the people I wish to love. I ran into her, and I do mean ran into her, quite literally. I was delivering packages, one of the things I did to create income, and I came around a corner, and she was there, and I bumped into her, and I apologized, and she stopped. She absolutely stopped. She turned around. She said, "Did you just say sorry?" I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "Well, you're not a man, but yeah, man." That's keeps coming out of my technology, so whatever. But that's the truth. I did say, "Yeah, man," and she said, "I'm a woman." I said, "Yeah, I see that. Pretty too." She goes, "What did you just say?" "You just said two things that are completely off scale. One, you apologized to me. I'm just refuse moving along." I said, "No, you're beautiful." I said, "I gotta go deliver this package. I'm on a timer. That's why I ran into you. But how about this? If you stand here for 5 minutes, this is my last package of the day, and I'll take you for the best burger I've found in 4 or 5 blocks." And she looked at me and she chuckled and she goes, "I'll stay. You might be in for a shock when we eat." I said, "I've been through them." I said, "I've been torn apart by more than a number of bullets that I wouldn't care to talk about and torn apart by people. I fought in rings where there was more blood on the ground than I should have been able to give." I said, "So I've seen it." I said, "But I got to get this package in. It's 5 to 3. I get it in, I get a bonus. Bonus means we get to eat better burgers." She chuckled. She said, "Okay." So I went upstairs, delivered the package. They couldn't believe I had got across the city in 45 minutes. I said, "Oh, I know the secrets and the passageways and the way to run, and I'm here." sign here. And they did, and they got their package. They were happy. I was happy. I heard a cha-ching because I get paid for every package. And I looked and went, yep, there's my bonus. Awesome. Went back down, and she was still there. And she was shaking. She wasn't cold. She was shaking. So why are you shaking? She goes, because when you see me, you're going to run. I said, I've seen some pretty bad things, and I've never ran. But I said, there's always somebody that will love somebody. I said, that's just a thing. She said, that's a powerful thing when you say it that way. And then she looked at me and she said, I don't think you are the one to love me. I said, probably not. But I said, maybe I can show you that you're lovable. And she went, all right, I am hungry. I haven't eaten in 4 days because I just don't feel like I'm anything. Of course you are, because you're here. You breathe. It doesn't matter what you look like. She said, okay, smart aleck. And she just pushed her hood down. Her face was just riveted with scars from the acid. And I did something really weird and foolish, but that's me, and you'll get used to me if you hear my stories. And periodically you will. Periodically they won't be mine. They'll be somebody else's, being the champion, the hero, whatever. I wasn't being any of those things. I just pushed her little chin up and gave her a kiss. Just like, you're beautiful. Doesn't matter to me. And she stopped shaking and she said, you just kissed me. Yes. With this face. I said, that face is pretty amazingly cool. I said, I'm sorry you had to go through whatever you went through, but something happened to you and there's beauty there. And she goes, I don't know. So we went for a burger and I found out she had no place to stay. And I was on the outs with church and I really didn't care anyway. I took her in. And yes, we did get into a relationship because kind of what she needed. Now, was I right in that? No, probably not. But it was two broken people trying to figure each other out. I was broken in my own way, and she was broken in hers. But I did see her transform and end up with a beautiful man. Well, he had his own issues. But I won't belabor this. We went together for a little while, and I helped her heal. And sometimes come alongside as a companion, I guess. Should we have got involved? Who knows? God would say no, and I agree with that. But we were broken, and somehow that worked. She showed me her full body. It was a mess. That's what people would have said. I saw beauty. I kissed the scars. Yes, me. I've got a few of my own. And she shivered and she goes, you still see me as beautiful. And I'm like this. I used to be beautiful. I said, no, you are beautiful. We had a wonderful time that night. And I introduced her to somebody that did Indian color work. It wasn't the way the tattoos are done. It's a hueing of the skin with natural items like blueberries and cranberries and things like that. And that's what they worked together with. Over about 6 months, she learned to feel and be beautiful, to hang out in a beautiful sundress and sit at a coffee bar and have people actually compliment her on how beautiful she looked and not really show pity, but say, I'm terribly sorry whatever happened to you, but you wear it well. And feeling kind of out of sorts by saying such things, but she was beautiful, you know. And over the period of time, she learned to be able to go and be at the beach be at a pool, hanging around with me. One day she met the love of her life, and I knew it was. And she just looked at me and she goes, "This is hard for me because you've brought me here." I said, "This is exactly where you belong." I actually married them. They went on, and I don't know what they're doing now because they disappeared off my radar, which sometimes happens for me. I did my job. It was done. She was beautiful. She's teaching others that even though they're scarred, messed up by things, they can be beautiful too. And the first one she taught was her husband, who was, he had his own issues. But that would be another story, and a little longer than this footprint should be, although I've been terrible with this footprint, and I do know it. But the reality is, we all have beauty. I mean, the outside can be pretty and the inside can't. The outside can't is marred and messed, and the inside is beautiful, and she was. Most amazing soul I had met in a long time. We aren't perfect travelers. We never will be. But somehow together, I walked away a little more healed than I had been. And she definitely walked away a little bit more healed than she had been. Sometimes transformation is an interesting thing, but the greatest thing that can happen is you get seen. Literally. Not somebody looking over and maybe looking away with disgust because of how you look, or thinking you're this or that because you have a big belly, or you've lost your hair, or you have a big scar running down your face. The truth of the matter is, there's beauty there. You can always find it. Yeah. I periodically am hard on myself, on my form, on my frame. It happens, it comes, it goes. Because God has shown me that we're all beautiful. We're all fearfully and wonderfully made. That's what this story talks about. Let's have a blessing. I'm going to conclude there. The blessing is this, just that you would realize how amazing you really are, that God would put forth a flower within you that would show that you are beautiful, amazing, and wonderful to God and to those that you're meant for, and that you would have a spark of wisdom and understanding in that matter and in all matters of your life, that answers would flow to you freely, right from the heart of God. And whatever that brush wants to paint, that also. Wishes, wants, desires, according to God's will and wish, according to your will and wish, it can be. We come before you, Father, and you decided to pull a story that I shortened a bit and put it into pieces, but it works as a transformation story. And maybe someone is hearing this and they can find their way through and their way out and feel good about themselves. Help me and help everyone that's hearing this voice do that. Feel good about themselves. They may have done things. They may be haunted by them. They may be in requirement of someone that can hold them. Create that for them, Father. Whatever it is. Bring them, of course, to you, if it's the first or the 100th time. Now, John 3:16, what it really means. The Roman road, let them somebody lead them through. Let them hear what James said. Those that believe in their heart, confess with their mouth, they're saved. May not be perfect in my rendition, but you understand the meaning, and they will too. It's so simple, yet it's so profound, and it changes everything. I thank you for being my absolute God from the very beginning of my existence to whatever, how many years left lead. And I believe there's a lot of them. I thank you for showing up in their darkness. I thank you for showing up when they think they're nothing but refuse, lost, barren, destroyed, worthless. All of those wonderful words that we as human beings use too much. When you call them beautiful, worthy, loved, respected, honored, and that wonderful word, useful, beneficial, a part of the tapestry of life that you have created, oh God. And each piece is your creation. So we thank you for all of those things. And if it's the 100th time, take them deeper, Lord, much deeper, as you always do. And we ask for grace and mercy and courage and strength as we go. And we say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, standing in awe and honor, respect, allowing all glory to flow. Father, Spirit, Son, this is, and so this is. So when you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is well lit by God. So, blessings.